I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. But no one on YouTube is going to have a look at this angle. And so we have to talk about how brilliant Brentford are. And why the Big Six absolutely hate them, because it's genius what they're doing. And someone's got to give them their flowers. Will all the West London clubs stop doing so well? And QPR, can you just step it up just a little bit, please? The bottom line is, I can't really dislike Brentford because they are just so impressive. And in this video, we're going to take a look at why they're doing so well. Because Brentford have now beaten Liverpool, Man City and Man United this season, whilst also avoiding defeat against Chelsea. In this video, we're going to take a look at just how they've been doing it and what are the reasons for that success. Because the latest victory against a Big Six team came against Liverpool, who they beat 3-1 despite only averaging 27% possession. And everyone's going to focus on Liverpool. Everyone's going to focus on Man United losing. Everyone's going to focus on Man City losing. But what about the team that wins the bloody game? We've forgotten that. So on this channel, we will sacrifice and just allow people to understand what Brentford are doing, because it's pretty special. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We're trying to find different angles on football to keep it bloody interesting. Let's focus on the other guys as well. So, in that 3-1 victory, 27% possession, but possession isn't key to Brentford's success against the big teams. Against Man City, they only had 25%. Against Man United, they averaged 33%. But the truly impressive thing about Brentford in all these matches is just how impactful they can be when they do have the ball for these short periods of time. This is a great website. I talk about it a lot. This is theanalyst.com, and this is a great way of showcasing the style that Brentford play. You can see them on the left-hand side here. They are fast, they are direct, not too many sort of passes per sequence. They're effective with their possession, so they don't actually need the ball that much. And in those three matches, when we talk about possession, as I said, 27%, 25%, 33%, it's not important because they're so impressive. They're impactful when they do have the ball for those short periods of these matches. And over these three matches, Brentford recorded a total of 33 shots, which displays that they aren't playing a defensive brand of anti-football against these teams, but they're focusing on short bursts of important attacking moves rather than going toe-to-toe with them. And this is it's a really bold strategy from Thomas Frank, who deserves huge credit. And it does involve being brave when you have the ball and running the risk of being open at the back when caught in turnovers. For example, Liverpool created 3 big chances against them and 2.0 XG. The next thing to dive into is, it's those gorgeous little momentum bars. But each of those matches against the Big Six, in terms of the ones that they've won, what it shows is how they more than often take their chances and understand how important this is when playing against the big teams that you can't dominate. The opposition's momentum is also an interesting part of these bars, because despite all three teams having good spells of pressure, they've all struggled to score against Brentford, with both Liverpool and Man City only scoring 1 goal each, despite creating a total of 3.61 XG between them. Now, stick with me. I know some people don't like the words XG, but there is a point. There's a reason behind this. Why is the XG so high, but the goal's not being scored? Well, there's a very, very clear reason. You could try and call it luck if you want to do that, and there is an element of luck when, there's a team that's going to have the ball a bit more than you. But there is one statistic that just absolutely leaps out, and it really does make you go, wow, okay, I get why they signed this player. I'll tell you that player in a second. You'll probably be able to guess it. Because when you look at this statistic and you sort of accompany it with the existing momentum bar data, it just reveals a lot, and it's blocked shots. Brentford blocked a total of 14 shots against Man City, which meant that only 6 of their shots fell on target. And of those 6, there would have been ones where, they're trying to block them anyway, probably, or maybe 1 or 2 of those. And so that makes it a little bit easier for the goalkeeper as well, sometimes, when you kind of know what corner of the goal that the ball is going. So while City might have scored some XG for these shots, they were never actually going to go in. And the same is true about Liverpool in the game against them. Brentford blocked 7 out of 16 shots, meaning that Liverpool could only test the keeper on 6 occasions. The next big thing is congesting the centre of the pitch. With Brentford blocking so many shots, your initial thought is that they would be a team that sits back, sits in front of the 18-yard box, and they try to make it as compact as possible. And whilst they do get 8 or 9 players behind the ball, they don't actually sit deep for the entirety of the game. Brentford trust They're three tall physical centre halves to keep tight and get in front of the ball when teams pepper their goal. And you can see that again, if we go back to the analyst, in terms of zones of control, they are controlling their own penalty box. Now, most teams do that, but you would look at this and go, this is a Brentford team that's really struggling. It's up here in the top right-hand corner, because as you make your way around, there's not many not many blue areas, which would mean, and if you look at, say, Man City, down in the bottom left-hand corner of these grids, you can see their dominance. Brentford is the complete opposite. But because they're blocking those shots and they're keeping the centre of the pitch congested, you can see that in that grey area just in front of the penalty box, it's that area that they're contesting. And again, in the wide areas as well, which is really important for them when they're going forward, but also when they're creating turnovers and stopping the opposition when they're kind of peppering their goal. Back to those average positions, and what is afforded to the Brentford midfielders is a little bit of freedom to play 5 to 10 yards further up the pitch. And it gives them the ability to play threaded passes to the channels or into Ivan Toney. The main reason for this is to give them a platform for creating meaningful attacks and counter-attacks rather than just hoofing the ball away and, again, curling up in the ball. They also lean on the blocked shots method as a way of creating quick transitions, chaotic transitions, and forcing quick turnovers. So here's the other side of the sort of XG element to this, especially with Brentford, a team that concentrates on data. So out of the 10 shooting opportunities that Brentford had against Liverpool, 4 of them were big chances. And that is something that's really important to focus on when you're talking about Brentford, because Brentford are attacking with intent and trying to give themselves the best possible chance to score when they do attack in these games. They also look towards counter-attacks to create these opportunities by relying on pace and vertical balls to split open teams as they look to get their strikers in 2 versus 2 scenarios against the opposition defenders. And again, when we're talking about the big 6, the big teams all play with those attacking fullbacks. So this works brilliantly, because by looking to isolate the centre-backs 2v2, it's just a very clever strategy from Frank, as it exploits an obvious weakness in transition. Brentford scored a counter-attacking goal against Liverpool and against Man United this season, and they use it as a method of putting games to bed when they are already ahead. And of course, they created 2 well-crafted counter-attacks against Man City and scored in that last minute, which again was from a counter-attack. So that focus on XG over aesthetics is really important, because playing a practical brand of football is one of the key parts to their success, and especially against those big teams. You know, Brentford only put together 216 passes against Man City, but created a total of 6 big chances. So out of their 10 shooting opportunities against Man City, 6 of them were big chances, and creating the best possible chance on a frequent basis rather than trying to control the match is one of the keys to their style of play against these teams. And it's a realistic, smart way of playing. And it was similar. It was a similar story against Liverpool. Brentford had 237 passes, but created 4 big chances. Being effective and refining their play, it's just really admirable from Brentford, as it means that they could be an attacking side whilst not actually playing attacking football. Maximising set pieces is crucial as well for Brentford. A lot of the big teams this season have allowed opposition to create dangerous opportunities from set piece scenarios, and Brentford absolutely maximised their opportunities from set pieces at every opportunity this season, regardless of who they're playing. Again, it's a staple of what Brentford do. You know, they find those little advantages, and set pieces is one that's so important. Brentford have totalled 8.0 XG from set pieces this season, with only Newcastle amassing more with 8.77. And I think the thing to remember with those stats is for them to be second whilst not having much of the ball, again, shows that during their periods of time, they're creating enough and really, really actually doing better than Newcastle, because Newcastle have got the ball a hell of a lot more. They're using set pieces to their advantage, caused Liverpool big problems, and Brentford capitalised on it, not for the first time this season. Not only are they creating XG from set pieces, they're also taking the chances, with 8 goals scored from set pieces alone this season. Brentford are running hot this season, and so it may calm down. But the bottom line is they are one of the most switched on teams in the league when it comes to being clinical and taking scoring opportunities. And the set piece data shows this. Often the big teams will give you a chance or two in the match, but not all teams take these opportunities. This is what it comes down to when you are the underdog. You're not going to have as many moments, but you need to take more moments than the opposition. And Brentford are the best at it in this league. That person I was talking about earlier in terms of a signing that was obvious, now when you look at the block shots and the way that they're playing, Ben Mee. And it is about the system with Brentford, because Ben Mee is the only new signing regularly being used, whilst Hickey, Damsgaard and Keane Lewis-Potter are the other signings in the summer. They've all come in and out of the side and not really sort of put down a marker. This is another great positive for Brentford, because it shows how important the system is rather than the individuals. And whilst Ivan Toney has been their talisman, you know, you need a talisman in a team. And this season, the whole team have come together as a collective unit several times this season to ensure results. And the result against Liverpool demonstrates exactly that, and how important the system is in how they are able to overcome the absences in the team. Last thing to focus on, I think, is just the sort of status of Brentford as a club, the exuberance of the club and the crowd, and the togetherness of the 11 players on the pitch, but also the togetherness of the community feel and the sort of passion, the fact that it is a family club, the smart decision on what, you know, as a QPR fan, you go, oh, we've got more capacity in our stadium, but they fill their stadium in the Premier League, and it has a real fantastic sound to it. And that will sound patronising. It's totally not. You know, I'm from a fan who goes to Loftus Road, and it's not about the number sometimes. It's about how they put themselves forward. And Brentford it is dreamland for them. You know, my friends who are Brentford fans, they talk about being top of the league, and they feel like they are top of the league because in terms of the teams that they can compete with financially at this moment in time, as this video is being recorded, they are exactly that right now. And so I think that makes a difference. You know, you've got the lap of appreciation, you've got that, you know, that celebration when that full-time whistle goes. It is different with Brentford at this moment in time. And we all know with football clubs, you go through highs and lows, and you go through high and low expectations. And I think the great thing that Brentford fans have been able to enjoy over the last, I don't know, what is it, guys, 12 years or something like that, going from League Two all the way to the Premier League and now being where they are, is they've kind of kept that realism and been just sort of grateful for their team and for how they're doing. And that's a massive thing here. You know, when you look at other clubs, bigger clubs like Everton and West Ham, they put a lot of pressure on their team and they are highly critical of them. And that makes the players tense up at times. These are human beings, and it can limit them on the pitch. You don't get that with Brentford. And that is a crucial difference. That means that when they step into these games, it is about attitude. It is about their mindset. And their mindset is, let's cause an upset here. We've got good players and we're a really smart team as well. And that whole concoction has made them a horrible team to play against if you're any team in the Premier League, but in particular, the Big Six. If you enjoyed this video, hit the subscribe button and the like button as well. And that way you won't miss out on the next one. See you soon.